Hi everyone, today I'm going to be doing another book Unhaul. I know some people will wait and do a book Unhaul when they have like 50 books, but I like doing it on a more regular basis so I can add them to my Pango account. So I hope that you like these smaller book Unhauls. Leave me your critiques down below. Let me know what you like best and I'll take it into account. Books are falling. Let's just get into it. The first two books are along similar veins. The first is, I'm so sad to get rid of these also, because, you'll see why. The first is The Frugal Wizard's Handbook to First Survive in Medieval England by Brandon Sanderson. And the second is Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. I'm so bummed about getting rid of these. They're really nice, like leather-ish. They're probably plastic, but like meant to look like leather. They're really pretty, just like beautiful books with beautiful illustrations inside of them. But both of these books suffer from Brandon Sanderson's humor. And like, I didn't hate either of these books, but I didn't really like them that much either. So essentially, The Frugal Wizard's Handbook to First Surviving Medieval England follows this guy who has lost his memory, but he wakes up in this world that's similar to medieval England. And he only has like a pamphlet from like a thing that probably got him there, and he has no idea what he's doing. He has no memory of who he is, and he's just trying to figure out how to survive. And then Yumi and the Nightmare Painter has a hair on it. Oh my god, it's not going off. This book follows two different characters, Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. Yumi is known as like spiritual figure in her world, and she has to like communicate with the spirits. And the Nightmare Painter, in his world, there are these things called nightmares that roam the streets. And as a Nightmare Painter, he has to go up to them and like paint them and turn them into something else to like neutralize them so they're not causing like nightmares to people. I mean, I think The Frugal Wizard's Handbook or whatever definitely is more like a humorous book. I know a lot of people haven't really liked this because of that. It's just like he's trying so hard to be funny and it's also a little bit annoying. And like I did think it was like enjoyable and funny at times. It's not really the kind of book that I want to hold on to. And the fact that these are like the special editions I paid so much money for like really hurts. And I almost want to keep them just because they're special editions, but I do not have enough room on my bookshelf to be doing that. I cannot be keeping books that I don't like really like or love. So these two are going. And You Mean the Nightmare Painter, again, it had some of that humor with just this one it worked even less in because the other one is like a humorous novel as a whole. This one is supposed to be more a serious novel, but then like the humor is thrown in. It just didn't work for me. It just didn't work. And I'm so sad about it. I'm so sad about it. But those are the first two. I will be putting those up on my Pango, so if you're looking to grab a special edition, that's where they'll be. Next book is Brutes by Dis Tate. I read this one recently in the month of August, and I was so excited about it because I thought it was going to be about like this group of teenage girls and how brutal and how like ugly they are. Ugly like not aesthetically but like personality wise, and it just felt like a fever dream. Like I have no idea what happened in this book even though I read every single word, and it was a letdown. And I'm so upset about this one too. I don't want it anymore, so it's gonna go. The main book I actually did like, The School for Good Mothers by Jasmine Chan. This book follows, what does it follow? It's been a while since I've read this. This book, essentially, there's this school for mothers, if you couldn't tell by the title. And it follows our main character who leaves her young child at home alone for like a few hours, and then her child is taken away from her, and in order to get custody of her kid back, she has to go to the School for Good Mothers, which is like this completely dystopian like training camp where they have like fake children. It's wild. I actually did like this one. I just don't think I liked it enough to hold on to it, to be honest. And that's really all I have to say. Next is Doppelganger, where did that come from? Doppelganger by Naomi Klein. This is a nonfiction that really is hard to describe as well because it just follows so many different things, which is the problem I was having with this book. It's supposed to be about how like Naomi Klein is mistaken for another Naomi whose name I forget, but is like a serious like right winger, whereas Naomi Klein is like a leftist and is just known for that. And people are mixing her up for like this totally right-wing crazy Naomi. And so that's the basic premise of this book, but she kind of uses that to just talk about like every single thing in America and beyond. Like, she talks about Israel and Palestine. She talks about vaccination. She talks about autism. She talks about QAnon. Like, it's everywhere. I think that was the problem I had with this book. It's just, it was trying to do way too much, and it didn't really seem to have a coherent thesis. And I just didn't love it, and I don't want to keep it. So I'm not going to keep it. I'm not going to make myself do that. I think I have a friend who might like that one, actually, so I'll give it away. Next is Manhunt by Gretchen Felker Martin. This book I did like. This is like a post-apocalyptic book that follows a bunch of trans women who are living in a world where basically testosterone has made men go like feral. Like, they're now just more like monster than man, and they go around and like they kill and rape and eat people. And these trans women are killing these men and harvesting their balls as a source of estrogen. And meanwhile, there's these, what are they called again? TERFs. I couldn't remember the word. There's these TERFs who are like roaming the land and like becoming more powerful. This is actually a really interesting novel, and I did enjoy it. It's just not a new favorite, and I don't feel the need to hold on to it. I think I'd rather have this going to someone who would really love it, so I'm going to get rid of it. I'm getting rid of all of these books, so I don't really feel like I need to keep saying that, but I'm going to keep saying it. After that, we have The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. This book follows a writer who is invited to go on this exclusive retreat with like her favorite writer in the entire world. But when she's there, things start to get odd. And that's all I'm going to say. I actually did enjoy this one quite a bit. I think I might have given it like 4 stars even. But I don't really feel like I'm ever going to come back to it. I feel like the only person that I might lend this to is my sister, so I think I'm just going to give it to her. She has this really cute little thing where like everyone at her work like take turns reading the same book, and they've been doing that with like thrillers recently, so I think that this one could be a win for them. So I think I'm just going to give it to her because I think she'll enjoy it more than me. Like, it's just going to sit on my shelf, you know? And I like to try to keep books on my shelf I'm gonna reread, or like maybe I could see myself loaning out to like multiple people, or that I just want to keep in my life for some reason, and that one's just not it. Next, we have The Kites by Romaine Gary. This book follows basically like the Holocaust in France. You start out, it takes place in Normandy. So you're following this young boy named Ludo, who at the beginning of the novel falls in love with this girl who is a Polish aristocrat who vacations in Normandy. And right as she starts to return his affections, the war breaks out and she's in Poland, and he loses touch with her and he has no idea where she is. But he then goes on to join the French resistance, and it's like partially for his country but also partially for his love. This wasn't a bad book by any means, but I just didn't really connect with it too much. I just thought it was okay. I liked it, but it wasn't anything special. Next, we have Fate and Furies by Lauren Groff. God, this book. Ugh. This book. How do I describe it? So you're basically following like a marriage between these two people who got married when they were like in their young 20s. The guy is like he ends up being like a script writer, like a playwright, I mean. Oh, my arm hurts from holding up this microphone. And for the first half of the book, you're following like his perspective on the marriage, and then the second half you're following his wife's perspective. And it kind of talks about how like two people within the same marriage can view things differently and keep secrets from each other. It was just such a bad book. Like, the writing wasn't bad, but it just felt like it was trying way too hard. Like, it just felt kind of pretentious at times, and I just thought it was boring as hell. I thought the characters were stupid and I didn't like them. And I also just felt like the characters were phrasing things in ways that real people would never speak. Like, there's this one instance where the main male protagonist is like 10 years old or something like that. His father dies, and his father was like really, really wealthy. And his mother sells like their estate they're living on and moves him into just like a regular kind of rundown house. And his response to this is to just say, betrayal. What 10-year-old talks? Ugh, I don't like it. I'm getting rid of it. Don't like it. After that, we've got A Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin. This one I'm still on the fence about, I gotta be honest. I picked it up at a used bookstore. It's like a first edition. It's so cool. It's got this awesome cover. But I think I want all my editions of Game of Thrones to match is the thing. And I think I'll have a hard time finding like really good quality first editions just based off of what it is. And I really, really like the new covers that were put out that are like illustrated. I think they're beautiful, and I think I'd like to have those. But I think ultimately I'm going to wait until Winds of Winter, if it ever comes out, to get the matching editions with whatever that is. So I think I'm going to say goodbye to this, which is kind of sad because I was really excited about like having this edition, but it's just gotta go. It'll be okay. I'll be fine. Don't worry about me. Then we have Cell by Stephen King. This book is so silly. You're essentially following, well, it essentially takes place in like current day, well, like 2000s, like early 2000s or 2010s or something like that. Like not current day. But essentially everyone who is on their cell phone at this one moment like turns into a feral zombie. And you're following a cast of main characters as they're trying to escape the city. The main male protagonist is like trying to get back to his son and his wife to see if they're safe, and that's pretty much it. I just thought it was really silly. I don't need to keep it. It's not like a favorite Stephen King, so I'm not gonna hold on to it. Then this one's pretty disappointing. Boy Parts by Liza Clark. This book follows a woman who is a photographer, and she takes pictures of men like compromising positions, like nudes or just other weird stuff. And she's kind of like an unlikable protagonist, and things just kind of like go from there. I can't really say much about it without ruining it. She's just like a really shitty person. And I wanted to like this so bad, but I just couldn't really get into it. I think I gave it like 3 stars. I don't feel the need to hold on to it. And I know this is a book that a lot of people really want to read, so I think it could go into better hands because I know so many people really love this, and I want this particular version of it to go to someone who loves it rather than just collecting dust on my shelf because I don't think I'm ever going to reread it. Whew, I've been saying a lot of words really fastly. Next is We Spread by Ian Reid. This book, I'm kind of on the fence about getting rid of this one. So it follows this elderly woman whose husband dies, and she's like living alone in her apartment, and her memory starts to go, and she gets transferred to this like elderly living situation in this beautiful house and like beautiful woods. But as she's there, things start to get dark, and she doesn't know if she can like trust the other people there, if something like bad is going on. But throughout the book, you're not really sure if there's actually something bad going on, or if it's just her dementia getting worse. I kind of want to keep this one as I'm talking about it, but I didn't love it that much. I almost want to keep it so I can reread it and see if I like it again. But again, I think I can go to someone who will like it more. This is a hard one to get rid of. It really is. It really is. I just think it's so interesting with like the dementia angle because my grandma suffered from dementia towards the end of her life, and this really made me feel so sad for her, but it made sense. Like if you have a loved one who's had dementia, like this will feel very relatable in a sense. I don't know. Maybe I won't get rid of it. I'll think about this one a little more. The next 2 ones go together, and they are, oh my god, it almost fell. They are King of Scars, and what's this one called? Rule of Wolves, both by Leigh Bardugo. These are like a duology in the Grisha-verse that follows King Nikolai. I can't really summarize it because it takes place after the Grisha-verse stories, so I would be like spoiling stuff that happened in those books. I liked these books actually. I think I might have given them 4 stars. I just don't feel the need to hold on to them. I'm kind of out of my YA phase and don't really feel the need to hold on to any YA anymore, to be honest. They were a fun time, but just didn't love them. And lastly, the very last book I'm getting rid of is Things You May Find Hidden in My Ear by Musab Abu Toha. This is a collection of poetry by Palestinian. I did actually like this. I think I gave it like 3 or 3.5 stars. I'm just not a poetry girl. And I didn't like it that much, you know? Like, I don't feel like it was, like, life-changing in any way. I did think that some of the poems in here are really heartbreaking and beautiful at the same time. But I just don't think I'm going to reread it. And I think I have a friend who will like this as well, so I might just give it to him. So that's it. There you go. Those are all the books I'm getting rid of. Let me know if you've read any of these books down below, what you thought of them. Let me know if I'm totally wrong, if I should keep all of them. I will be easily convinced, to be honest. And that is all. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the video sometime soon. Goodbye.